right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, Jenny, and thank you, Kaylee. I'm Robin. I'm the creative strategist for the WCWB, and with me today is our guest, Karianne Munstedt. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Karianne is an award-winning photographer, speaker, coach, and author, and we're just so happy to have her here with us today. She is an artist and nurturer, fiercely motivated by using her talents to make women feel confident, empowered, and whole. Growing up with an abusive role model left her filled with fear. She countered this by attempting to be perfect, but never took the time to understand who she was. Karianne started a journey to get to know herself in her 30s, and on her spiritual journey, she connected back to the thing that brought her joy as a child, photography. She discovered an innate talent to capture a person's true inner beauty, the real person inside. Personally, Karianne is a wife, mommy to a toddler son, stepmother to a teenage daughter, and doggy mama. Thanks for being here, Karianne.
Thank you so much, Robin.
Yeah, before we get started, I'm just going to go over a couple of quick housekeeping things and some of the resources that the WCWB has to offer. The WCWB hosts 2 Let's Talk Business episodes a month. Thanks for being here for our first December afternoon webinar. We always hold one on the first Thursday of the month and one on the third Thursday from 12 to 1 p.m. If you haven't already, I see that we have, but if you have any issues with the audio, you can always call in. Make sure that you're muted throughout the presentation. Just so you know, the presentation is recorded. So if you unmute yourself, your voice will be on the webinar at any time. You can leave questions in the chat or unmute yourself during times when we have Q&A or interaction time. So all of our Let's Talk Business webinars that are recorded are uploaded onto our Let's Talk Business library. You can find other presentations on various topics of interest. That's on our website, which I'll share with you here at the end of the intro. Among many of our amazing resources here at the WCWB that we offer for entrepreneurs is a business plan writing program called Best. So if you're interested in starting your own business, our business enterprise startup training may be the program for you. Best is an 8-week course with 1 webinar per week, and you'll receive access to a business plan web application that you'll use to create a comprehensive business plan. By the time you finish, you will have a business plan ready to seek funding. Our next session begins January 19th, 2021. The WCWB also offers no-cost business coaching. We're scheduling coaching sessions on Zoom or over the phone right now, but we hope to be back in person soon at the office. Coaching topics can include startup assistance, business plan writing, marketing, and operations. We currently have 3 coaches, and you can schedule one-hour sessions with each of them per week at no cost. The WCWB is located in the Thurston EDC and CBNI in the SPSCC Lacey campus. In the Thurston EDC, we have a number of partner organizations that assist entrepreneurs and business owners at various stages and aspects of business. The Small Business Development Center, SBDC, provides free business counseling to organizations, and they typically work with organizations that have already started or are in their earlier stages of business development. I'm gonna grab my puppy because he's crying. The Washington Procurement Technical Assistance Center, or PTAC, helps organizations contract with city, state, and federal government. So if you think that you have a service or a product that can be sold to the government, PTAC can help you find and pursue those contracts. We also offer a SCORE mentorship program. So if you're looking for mentorship, this program offers no-cost mentorship, typically provided by retired business individuals that are volunteering to assist entrepreneurs and business owners. And we also have our own version of Shark Tank called Think. It's a group of 40 local investors who are interested in investing in local Washington businesses. As seen on Shark Tank, you would pitch your idea to the investors who in return ask difficult questions. Think is typically looking for businesses that have high growth potential. And located in the St. Martin's campus is the Lacey Makerspace. I like to call it the Inventor's Workshop. You can create prototypes, but if you're just looking to get creative, the Lacey Makerspace has a ton of cool tools. You can visit their website to view their membership options. If you're interested in pursuing any more of our services, you can check out our calendar to see upcoming programs. You can email us or give us a call. And without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Karianne. I'm going to stop sharing so that you're able to. Hope you're muted.
There I go. Let me go ahead and get my screen shared now. All right, can I just get a thumbs up? Can you guys see my, okay, good, all right. So, welcome to From Bully to Bestie, how we're changing your thoughts to achieve your goals. So, if I asked you, do you know a bully? What would you say? Well, what if I told you that you definitely know a bully, and the biggest bully in your life is you? Ouch, it hurts to hear that, doesn't it? And, you know, but sometimes does it look like this to you with those, like with this picture right here, with those voices constantly in your head, you know, whispering kind of mean things to you. I mean, this looks like me sometimes for sure. Now, bullying is a serious problem in our world today, but the type of bullying that we're talking about isn't the type that's inflicted on one person by another, right? The bullying that we're talking about today is self-bullying. The bullying that we do to the most important person in our lives, ourselves. It's that mean inner voice. And it might sound something like this. You're not pretty enough. No one will like you. You'll never achieve your goals. You're not smart enough. You'll never have that. And that voice has been even louder during this time of COVID and quarantine, isolation, hasn't it? You're not a good enough homeschool teacher. You're not doing enough projects around the house. You'll never accomplish all that you want to in your business, right? You get the picture. It's a constant loop of you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. Self-bullying is being a bully to yourself in your mind. It's thinking thoughts that are cruel and unkind. And here's what I know about each of you ladies on this call today. You are more amazing than you will ever know. You're capable of so much more than you even know. And those mean inner voices, those negative thoughts, they're holding you back. Maybe a little bit, maybe a lot. So I'm here today to help you understand where you're stuck and find out how to get to that version of yourself where nothing holds you back. So this is what we're going to cover today. First, we're going to talk about where those self-bully thoughts come from in the first place. I'll discuss how you can transform your bully into your bestie. And we'll take an assessment to get clear on what you need next. So, because there's a lot to learn and this topic can be heavy, I wanted to have some fun today. And I'm looking at everyone and it still looks like there's only 2 people on the call today. So you guys are both gonna win this today. So what I would love, Jenny and Kaylee, is for you both to put your emails into the chat. And after this presentation, I'll reach out to you to get your address. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you a copy of a book that I wrote a chapter in. It's called The Lemonade Stand. So my chapter will tell you about my journey changing my own self-bully thoughts, and it includes inspirational stories from 18 other women as well. So just go ahead, put your email address into the chat, and at the end, I'll email you to get your address, and I will send you a signed copy of that. So I'd like to go to the chat right now. This is gonna be an interactive presentation today, even with a couple of people on it. And I wanna hear from you. So you signed up to hear this topic today, right? You came, you joined this call. Why is this topic of changing your thoughts so important to you? And I invite you to be open and honest and vulnerable. This is a very safe space to do that. So please go to the chat box. I'm gonna stop the share and tell me why this topic is important for you today. Robin, that threw me for a second that wasn't a picture of you on the call. Right? Change your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. It just threw me for a second. Yeah, thank you, Kaylee. Change your thoughts, change your life. It's so true. We were talking about that. Robin and I were a little bit earlier. As we're growing in our business, there's a lot of like marketing and advertising and those types of things that are really important. And what's also really important is changing your mindset so that, it puts you in a really positive space as you continue to grow in your business. So Jenny, do you have anything to add to that? You might be typing away. I'll wait. That's all right. I don't want to move on until I see what you wrote. And Robin, you are welcome to jump in and participate at any time if you would like to as well. I know how I think can sometimes impact how I perceive things, and my negative thoughts turn things negative when they are in fact not, right? Absolutely. One part of that is worrying about things that haven't even happened yet, that we're putting so much negativity on when they haven't even happened. We don't even know if those things are going to actually, if that's even going to happen or not, right? But worry is a really big part of those self-bully thoughts that just have you constantly in that negative mindset. So thank you both for adding some chat in here today. I'm going to go back to my screen share. And then Jenny, can you just give me a thumbs up that you can see my slide again? Why is this topic important to you? Awesome, thank you. Okay, so thank you again for your comments. This topic is, of course, extremely important to me, and it's important to many women, which is why I've been sharing this message with women's groups across the nation. So these days, because I've changed my own self-bully thoughts, I can post whatever pictures I want of myself on social media, even though showing my lumps and bumps and my double chin. I set goals. I'm able to take decisive action on those goals and achieve them. And daily, I'm creating a life that I love and inspiring others to live a life that they love as well. But it hasn't always been like this. I used to hide from the camera. I let life pass me by, and I was not sharing my gifts with the world. So what changed? So by doing the work that eventually led to this model, becoming aware of how those negative thoughts were really affecting me, by getting coaching to work through that, by working on changing my inner self and loving what I saw in my outer self, by taking decisive action, by being photographed and existing beautifully in photos, that is how I was able to fully achieve the goals that I set out for myself. And that's what I'm here to share with you today. So how did we develop the self-bully thoughts in the first place, right? Because we definitely didn't invite that bully into our heads, and we weren't born with those negative thoughts. So why do we all self-bully? So I'd like to take you on a journey of a young girl to an adult woman to show you how these thoughts manifest. I want you to imagine yourself as this young girl. Maybe you can put yourself right into her shoes. She was told somewhere in her formative years that she wasn't good enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, not athletic enough, not enough of something. This was told to her most likely by her parents or some other parental unit, and reinforced in the magazines she read, the billboards she saw, the advertisements that caught her attention. Since she was getting the same message of not being good enough over and over, she just naturally believed it. And then to combat that feeling of self-failure, she became an overachiever, setting unrealistic expectations for herself. She became a people pleaser and said yes to everyone but herself. She did what was expected of her and didn't really form a lot of her own ideas and opinions. She obsessed over what she ate and weighed and wore, and none of it was ever enough, never good enough for the love and affection she truly desired. Now imagine yourself growing up. You're now in your 20s. As she got older, she continued to strive for more and more. That overachiever now wants the perfect car and handbag, and it's causing some debt. The people pleaser puts on a big smile and says yes to everything, and she's overcommitted herself. By doing what was expected of her, she took a job that she thought looked good and got married because she thought that's what she was supposed to do. And that body obsession morphed into binging and dieting. And the older that she got, now she's in her 30s and 40s. Besides the perfect house and car, now she strives for the perfect children and clothes and friends. By getting married because she thought she should, it ultimately led to a divorce. The binging and dieting led to an eating disorder. The people pleaser who said yes to everything is now stressed and completely exhausted. And worst of all, since she said yes to what everyone else wanted from and for her, she never took the time to get to know what she wanted. She has no idea who she is. How do I know this? Because that person was me. That was my life from a young girl to a mature adult. At the time of this picture, it was 2008, and although I was smiling, that smile did not touch my eyes behind those sunglasses. Because all the striving, all the accomplishing, you know what it got me? It got me isolation and no deep relationships, a divorce, an eating disorder, never knowing the real me, debt, and any fear of any little bit of negativity or rejection. I was not living my life to its fullest. I was stuck and I was being held back. But why was this happening to me? As I dug deep, I discovered the answer to that question. And the answer is perfectionism. From my years as a portrait photographer and coach, and working with and speaking to hundreds of women, I know this answer to be true. Perfectionism is what holds us back from living our lives to their fullest potential. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I thought that striving for perfection was good. And it can be, right? There is healthy striving or striving for excellence, not perfection. That's when you set high achievable goals, when you can accept criticism and failure and use that to improve and learn from our mistakes. But the perfectionism that we're talking about today is the kind that holds us back and keeps us stuck. This definition from Brené Brown really resonates with me. She said that perfectionism is not the same thing as striving to be your best. It's not about healthy achievement and growth. It's not even about self-improvement or striving for excellence. What? Perfectionism is the belief that if we live perfect, look perfect, and act perfect, we can minimize or avoid the pain of blame, judgment, and shame. It's a shield. Oh, that's a good one. What we have to understand and accept is there is no such thing as perfect, right? No one person is perfect. Nothing will ever be perfect because it's not real. It's an illusion. By believing in perfectionism, we increase our risk for obsessive compulsive disorder, eating disorders, social anxiety, workaholism, self-harm, substance abuse, clinical depression, and physical problems like chronic stress and heart disease. And if that's not enough, perfectionism holds us back from being that real, true person that we are and from living our lives to their fullest potential. Who wants that? I don't. And I have a feeling that you don't either. You see, perfectionism is not the way. And I hope that you know that any perfectionism you have, you came by honestly, and you're not alone. That was deep. That was a deep part. So how do we stand up to that perfectionist self-bully then and transform those thoughts into our bestie? So we're going to do a journal exercise to work through this next section, okay? So take out your pen and paper and, let's not be multitasking or anything right now. This is self-development time for you. So take a deep breath, let it out. And I want you to grab your pen and I'm going to give you 1 minute to write down everything that comes to your mind about this question I'm about to ask you, okay? So as you're writing, no judgment, no thinking, I can't do that, okay? Just write whatever comes to your mind. Are you ready? What is one big goal that you have for yourself in 2021? It can be personal, it can be business. What's your one big goal for 2021? 1 minute, go. Okay, great job. So pens down, and we're going to come back to this exercise a little bit later, okay? All right. So according to a report by the Cleveland Clinic, the average person has 60,000 thoughts per day. So of those thoughts, 95% repeat each day, and on average, 80% of those repeated thoughts are negative. So I did the math, and if I did it right, that comes to about 46,000 negative thoughts per day. Now there are 86,400 seconds in a day, which means that approximately 52% of our thoughts per day are negative. And overall, what that comes down to is this: we have a negative thought nearly every 1.9 seconds of the day. And we typically don't even know that that self-bully is so prominent and intrusive, right? It starts the second we get out of bed, and it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Oh, I didn't get enough sleep. I'm so tired. I just want to go back to bed. And then we walk into the bathroom and look at ourselves. Ugh, look at those bags under my eyes. Oh, I need to get these roots touched up. Ugh. And then we step on the dreaded scale, and that number is never where we want it to be. Oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. Why am I so fat? Did you feel the way I talked to myself in those scenarios? Right? It felt heavy and sad and depressing. And my friends, we are 1 minute into our day. We're not good enough. We're not good enough. We're not good enough. And those perfectionist judgments happen every 2 seconds throughout our entire day. And we just don't know it. Understatement of the year, I know. But the way we talk to ourselves is really, really important. So let's go back to the exercise we started with, okay? So take a look at what you wrote earlier, what your one big goal was. And now what I want you to do is write down any perfectionist judgments that come to you when you think of achieving that one big goal. For example, your perfectionist judgment might be saying, you're too old to do that. You're too fat to achieve that, right? It says it to us. You're not smart enough. No one will take you seriously, right? Whatever those judgments are, I want you to take 1 minute now and write down as many judgments that come to you regarding achieving that goal. Okay, go. Okay, pens down. Let's take another deep breath together. Let it out. Because I know that that part is difficult, right? It doesn't feel good to write down judgments. But here's the thing, I have some really great news for you. Just as you can let that self-bully take over your thoughts, you can also transform those thoughts in your head and turn that bully into your own self-bestie. So a best friend is the opposite of a bully, right? You can be your most real and authentic self with this person without judgment. She's someone who will stand up for you when you need it the most. She loves you no matter what kind of silly things you might do, and she always wants the best for you. So I'd like to tell you a story of a woman who chose to be her own best friend instead of her biggest bully. So it was May 2019, and a request for nominations for her association's end of year awards were sent out. She looked at the criteria for Business Owner of the Year, and that perfectionist bully came up and said to her, "You're not qualified. You could never apply for something like that. You're not good enough." Now that request appeared in her inbox again, and those self-bully thoughts said the same thing to her. And on the third time that request appeared in her inbox, even though the self-bully was still telling her she wasn't good enough, she was able to dig deep, and she stood up to that self-bully and made the choice to be her own self-bestie. She nominated herself and applied for that particular award. And you know what happened? I won. I won the Business Owner of the Year award for my Nabo Phoenix chapter. That's what being our own best friend can do for us. My self-bestie wanted the best for me, and she helped me stand up to those self-bully thoughts. When we can be our own bestie, we can accomplish so much more than we ever thought possible. So I want to share a tool with you now on how to change your bully thoughts into your bestie thoughts. So to stand up to the perfectionist self-bully like I did, we have to retrain our brains and rephrase our thoughts and words. We do this by noticing our thoughts and changing judgments to facts, okay? And to help us with this, we ask ourselves, what would my best friend say? Okay, what would my best friend say? And this is how it might look. Maybe your goal is to participate in a 5K walk or run. And that perfectionist judgment might be coming in and saying, you could never do that. You're too old, you're too fat, you're too uncoordinated to exercise. You'll never achieve that. Okay, what would your best friend say? Would she say that's a true statement? No. She'd help you rephrase those unkind thoughts to something more factual and definitely a lot kinder, such as you're never too old or fat or uncoordinated to do anything in life. You might need to adjust some things to accommodate for where you currently are, and that's absolutely fine. Right? So that's what changing from a judgment to a fact looks like. What would your best friend say? Or it could look like this. Maybe your goal is to write a book, and that perfectionist judgment starts coming in and saying, your life is too boring. You have nothing interesting to say. No one will read your book. You will fail. Ugh. What would your best friend say to those judgments? Would she say they're true? No. She would say something like this. If you dig deep, you will find that your life is full of amazing stories. You're not limited to writing what you know, only what you can imagine, right? So it's changing from a judgment to a fact and asking ourselves, what would our best friend say? So we're going to practice now, okay? So go back to your one big goal for 2021 and go back to those perfectionist judgments you wrote down earlier. And this is a really important part, so we're going to take 2 minutes for this exercise. For each judgment that you wrote down, I want you to ask yourself, what would your best friend say? And rewrite those judgments as facts, okay? 2 minutes, go. Okay, so I know that that exercise can be really difficult. So great job at completing that. And I hope that you feel lighter as a result of changing those judgments to facts. Please come back to this part later if you need more time with it as well. So to help you get clear on where perfectionism is showing up the most for you, we're going to take a quick assessment. So keep that pen and paper handy, okay? So for each of these questions, I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being, yes, that's totally me. 1 being, this doesn't apply to me at all, okay? So number 1, I typically try to avoid criticism and conflict. Where would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5? 5, yes, that's totally me. 1, this doesn't apply to me at all. Question number 2, I don't like to be vulnerable and or share my weaknesses with others. How would you rate yourself 1 to 5? Question 3, I judge myself harshly when I make mistakes. How would you rate yourself for that one? Question 4, I am highly critical of my body. And question number 5, I base my worth on my accomplishments. So now I want you to add up your totals for each section. And your numbers might look something like this, right? So now what I want to do is I want to take just a minute and I'm going to stop my share again and I want to go to the chat box. And I know that there are only a couple people on here, but I would love to find out what your number is in terms of perfectionism. So I'm going to stop my share so I can see the chat, and Contessa and Jenny and hopefully Robin too. If you guys could put in your numbers, that would be amazing. Anyone have any numbers they want to share? Jenny, 14. Awesome. That's good. Robin, are you there? Contessa, anybody else want to share anything?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to the screen share. Okay, I'm going to stop my share for just a second. Sorry, guys, I need to restart my PowerPoint here, or not restart it, but something is happening with my computer and my slides are not showing up. So give me a second here. I'm so sorry about this. Okay, here we go. So let me just get back to the right slide. Thanks for your patience, right? That's what perfectionism is all about, right? Giving up the fact that anything is going to be perfect. Okay, get back to my screen share. Here it's coming back. I think we're going good now. All right, Jenny, can you give me a thumbs up again? Can you say, is my slide say how much of a perfectionist are you? Okay, thank you. All right, so ladies, thank you for your patience so much. Now, if you scored 15 or higher, it's likely that you're suffering from perfectionism and your perfectionist thoughts might be holding you back in your life. So let me give you some very visual examples of why changing your self-bully perfectionist thoughts to self-bestie thoughts is so important. So you may have heard about this before. In the 1990s, a Japanese scientist named Dr. Emoto did an experiment that revolved around the hypothesis that water could respond to positive and negative thoughts and words, okay? So he exposed water, which he had poured into a drinking glass, to different words, which he had written on a piece of paper and taped to the glass. He then froze the water, and through using photography, he examined the small frozen water crystals that had formed. And these are some of the results. The crystals that formed as a result of the positive words like thank you, I love you, good job, well done, those were fully formed and beautiful. And the crystals that formed as a result of the negative words like you make me sick and you're a fool, those did not get the chance to form into their full potential. I know you might be a little skeptical about the ice crystal experiment, but I know many of us performed this experiment as kids. A woman in London purchased 2 exact potted plants, and for 4 weeks, day in and day out, she said, I love you to one plant, and I hate you to the other plant. Now, plants are made up of 95% water, and we saw earlier what happened to water when it's exposed to positive and negative words and thoughts, right? So of course, the plant that she said, I love you to, bloomed and grew. And the plant she said, I hate you to, withered and died. Humans are made up of 70% water. Our bodies respond the same way to positive and negative words and thoughts as the frozen water crystals and the plants did. When we flood our mind with positive and loving and kind thoughts, we grow and we thrive and we blossom. And when we flood our minds with negative, destructive, unkind thoughts, we sink, we become small, and we shrivel up and we die inside. Can you see why it's so important to stand up to that perfectionist self-bully? The way we talk to ourselves literally affects us at a cellular level. So it's critical that we all take this very seriously. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to all close your eyes for a second, okay? Close your eyes, take a deep breath, let it out. Imagine you living as the woman of your dreams. Nothing stops you, and you accomplished all of the goals that you've set for yourself in 2021 and beyond. You're happy. You speak with love and kindness to yourself. You smile at yourself in the mirror. That way of speaking to yourself spills out on the way you talk to your kids and your partner and your colleagues and your clients. You happily jump into family photos and you're delighted to see them posted on social media. You are confident, you are powerful, you are fully engaged in life. Go ahead and open your eyes. Is that a vision you can all get behind? Yes, I sure hope it is. So right now you might be thinking, I can definitely see that vision of myself. And I know that perfectionism is holding me back and I want to change that. And this is how you can do that. So this is your next step. I am going to put a link in the chat right now. I'm going to take down the share and let's see, it's called Ditch Perfect claritycall.com. ditchperfectclaritycall.com. All right, let me get my screen share going again. So what this is go ahead and grab it and just paste it into your browser to make sure that it's working while I'm talking this through. So I have an anti-perfectionism group coaching program that's starting in January. And if you scored, 15 or higher on the assessment, this program could be a great fit for you. And today I'm offering a complimentary call to get that clarity around your perfectionist thoughts that you might want to ditch, right? There are many phases of perfectionism that we might not even be aware of, such as workaholism, body dissatisfaction, all or nothing thinking, just to name a few. And we'll chat about how to change your thoughts so you can be even better achieve that one big goal that you've set for yourself. All right, so ditchperfectclaritycall.com. All right, and we did this earlier today, so we're gonna skip that and we're going to just close now. So as we close today, I want to leave you with this quote. Perfection is an illusion, and those who seek perfection will find themselves unfulfilled their whole lives. 5 years ago, I was a different person. I was unfulfilled and I'd finally had enough. I didn't like the perfect version of me that I saw in the mirror, and I decided to make a change. I acknowledged that I had to stop the way that I was talking to myself. I went to therapy, I found a coach, and stepped in front of the camera. I started making steps towards change, and that's what I want to help you all with as well. I want you to live a life even more full of everything that you want from it. So let's ditch those perfectionist thoughts together. Thank you all very much for coming today.
Thank you, Karianne.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
everyone who joined us. Don't forget we have Let's Talk Business on the first and third Thursdays of every month. So you can join us in a couple of weeks again if you'd like. And I will be posting this recording with Karianne on our website. So stay tuned for that as well.
Hey, Robin, can I just ask real quick, does anybody have any questions before we finish here today? Jenny, Contessa? Thank you. All right, thanks, ladies.
Thank you so much. Everyone have a good rest of the day.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.